Okay, so picture this. A politician. A wide-open goal, but no score. That's the puzzle at the heart of a really fascinating commentary we're digging into today about Bangladeshi politician Tarek Rahman. Our source is basically a collection of scattered clues, and in this explainer we're going to piece them together to see what they tell us about a very, very complex political game. So, let's dive right in.
Couldn't score in an empty field. I mean, that phrase, which is the title of our source material, it's just such a powerful metaphor, right? It immediately sets up this mystery. Here's this golden opportunity, this clear shot at a political goal, and somehow it was missed. But the real question, the one we're here to figure out is, was that field ever actually empty?
So how do we crack this thing? Well, we're going to approach it like detectives. See, our source isn't a simple, straightforward story. It's more like a series of clues, key terms and phrases. By putting them all together, piece by piece, we can start to see the bigger picture the commentary is trying to paint. All right, so any investigation has to start by identifying the central figure. Who is the main player at the heart of this whole political game? Let's take a look at what the source tells us.
Okay, the first clue is pretty unmistakable. The source points directly to Tarique Rahman and his political party, the BNP. But, and this is key, it's not just about them in a bubble. It puts them on the grand stage of Bangladesh politics, and it connects them directly to the voters. You got to remember this context, because it's the foundation for everything else that's coming.
And here is where that whole idea of an empty field really starts to fall apart. The source makes it incredibly clear that this political arena is anything but empty. In fact, it's crowded with some very, very powerful domestic players. And the clues are laid out right there in the text. You see phrases like powerful stakeholder, army establishment, and even just the word force. Now, these are not just buzzwords. They point to major, deeply entrenched institutions that have some serious clout in Bangladesh. All of a sudden, that empty field is starting to look awfully crowded, isn't it? But wait, the puzzle gets even more complex. The source suggests that we need to zoom out, to look beyond the borders of Bangladesh, because it's hinting that international forces are also a huge part of the story. And again, the source gives us specific breadcrumbs to follow. England, British citizenship, foreign actor, foreign speech. Every single one of these terms is like dropping a pin on a global map, and it connects the political situation in Bangladesh to the wider world. This adds a whole new international layer to our puzzle. The source even uses this very specific term, political asset. Now that is not a casual phrase. It implies a really cold, strategic way of thinking, that foreign powers might look at figures inside Bangladesh and see them as, well, useful tools for their own interests. We're not just talking about local politics anymore, this is geopolitics. Okay, so we've got our central figure, we've got these powerful domestic forces, and we have this whole international angle. We've collected all the clues. Now it's time to put them all on the board and see what the full picture really looks like. And this slide right here, this is where it all clicks into place. We started with this simple, clean idea of an empty field, an open opportunity. But the clues from our source, they paint a totally different picture. A crowded, complicated arena, just packed with domestic and foreign players, and every single one of them has their own agenda. So our source is basically pointing to three distinct layers of influence. You've got the central political figure right in the middle. Then you have these powerful domestic forces, and layered over all of that, you have international interests. This isn't a simple game of soccer. It's more like a game of three-dimensional chess. So when you put it all together, this whole story is about so much more than one person's political career. The commentary is painting a picture of this intricate, maybe even overwhelming web of forces that any leader in that position would have to deal with. And that leaves us with one last really provocative thought. The commentary kicked off with this idea of failing to score in an empty field. But after looking at all the clues, we have to ask a much more fundamental question. With all of these powerful players on the pitch, was that field ever truly empty to begin with?